What's going on, guys? And the whole team is back for this one. Brock is once again in on a video. We all saw Distant Coder and Team Sam doing some kind of irrelevant Cyber Dragon ruling, so we wanted to bring to you guys our actually kind of useful ones. And I will quiz Brock, and we'll see how good the Gren Maju player knows Cyber Dragons. So I guess if Brock would like to say hi, and then we can jump on into it.
Hello. Yeah,
For
I'm here, and definitely not good at cyber dragons anymore. So hopefully, hopefully I can remember this stuff from when John used to kick my butt all the time.
But for those who don't know, Brock has streamed a handful of times, been on stream, a couple videos he has come on with, but um, we go to locals together, we play, and we talk pretty much daily about ideas and deck lists and everything. So, question number one, if I activate Cyber Repair Plant, if I activate the add one light machine monster from your deck to your hand, can you use Ghost Bell to stop it because it has the target one light monster in your graveyard? Shuffle that target into your deck on the text of the card.
Um, Ghost Spell reads when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard the card, negate the activation, and one of them is um, relevant to the second effect of Repair Plant. That's tough. Um, Target. It says activate a card or effect, so it doesn't have to be the effect. So I think since the card has that, even if you're not activating the effect, I think you can go spell it.
Okay, so I think Ghost Bell is actually that's the Ashes worded the same. The when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, um, like you said with when a card or effect is kind of confusing, but you actually cannot, and it goes vice versa. If you use the shuffle back to your deck, you cannot ash that effect, strictly because Repair Plant is two separate effects. Like same reason you can't ash like Triple Tactics Talent if they're using the look at your hand. Um, you can only ash if they use the draw two effect. Kind of the same thing here, but if you have three Cyber Dragons and you use both effects, you can hit it with Ash or Ghost Bell. So yeah, that's kind of
Um,
weird wording on the Ghost Sisters with the because when a card is activated, it does include an effect that you can Ghost Bell, but um, yeah, kind of.
well, they're always going to get the machine dupe anyway. They're not going to hit the repair plant.
Yeah, that's. I either wait, like, if they summon core, I'll pretty much never ash a core. I'll either hit the repair plant if it comes out before the dupe or hit the dupe because, like, either way, if they have the dupe and you let repair plant resolve anyway, they're going to make infinity before you can stop the dupe anyway, so hitting the repair plant is kind of necessary. Um,
Yeah.
so the next handful have to do with contact fusion, not an official term, by the way, for any judges watching. If you have, say, like or your opponent has like Macrocosmos, Dark Law, any of those card gets banished instead of going to the graveyard type effects, can you contact fuse under them?
Okay, so I'm just going to make sure. So, Dark Law says if your opponent adds, no, hold on, any cards sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. Macros reads, while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So they're both worded basically the same. So so we don't have any tricks there. Um, and like you said, contact fuse is like an unofficial term. So I believe we got to go just by the wording
I was
of
gonna say,
Megafleet
yeah,
or
I guess
Fotress.
specifically Megafleet and Fortress. There may be other irrelevant to this specific ruling, but specifically Megafleet and Fortress. Can you go into them?
We by sending the above cards from from either field to the graveyard, and that was Megafleet. Fortress says by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. Since it specifically says they have to be sent to the graveyard, I'm gonna say no, you cannot contact fuse under those effects.
Correct. So, yeah, like Brock said, it's pretty self-explanatory. Same reason you cannot contact fuse with a pendulum monster because they will not go to the graveyard. They go to the extra deck by game mechanics. So, no, you cannot contact fuse under Dark Law, Macrocosmos, Dimension Shifter, any of those types of effects.
50% so far, yes.
Sticking with the contact fusion, can you say your opponent has Appaloosa in the extra monster zone? You don't want to get negated. I mean, it doesn't destroy anyway, but for the sake of the argument, they have a monster that negates and destroys in the extra monster zone. Can you set like a core or a hers or anything like that and contact fuse
So this one,
into Megafleet?
I uh, I know this answer, and I can even explain why. Because you've done it to me a bunch of times. Yes, you can. It's a like a leftover side effect of fusion being so old, where you could like use poly on a face down monster, polymerization, to fusion summon a monster using face down cards. So they left that in with the contact fusing. But you can't summon any other. You can't overlay. You can't link summon with face down monsters. Only fusion summon, unless otherwise stated.
Bonus points. Can you use a set hers or core to go into a Fotress Dragon?
I'm still gonna say yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, so you had the Mega Fleet part 100% right because it's one Cyber Dragon monster, but Fortress Dragon specifically needs Cyber Dragon. So
Ah,
while they're set, they are not actually Cyber Dragon, and then you cannot use them. So little trick question in there. Um, just wanted to see if
well,
you'd get that because I've seen so many people on Dueling Book do that. Like especially in a mirror, they'll like set one and then try to contact fuse like infinity out of a main zone, and I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
which is
So
kind of weird because like polymerization back in the day required specific targets, and those face down cards would fulfill the specific targets, but it won't for a contact fuse. So that's kind of a weird thing there,
yeah,
but
it's
whatever, it's
it
the
has
rules.
to do with
So
like when they're set, they don't have the name, the attribute, those types. They just it recognizes that like if you have a set hers and you have a face up cyber dragon, you can use that set hers because it's a set monster, a set machine that you control. But you need cyber dragon itself to either be set or face up. But you need a original cyber dragon to pull that off. So kind of tying into that, if gozen matches up on the field, can you set a hers and go into a mega fleet?
goes and reads each player can only control one attribute of monsters. Send all face up monsters they control to the graveyard. I'm gonna say since it's a face down card, the game doesn't identify that it has an attribute. Therefore, you can contact fuse.
See, you're doing pretty good on the official questions. Other if we wipe off that bonus point one, you're 3 for 4. So not too bad for well, didn't play Cyber Dragons for a whole very long time, so
Or
what
against. So we usually play together, not against.
very
Lately.
true, very true. One more about contact fusion, and then we'll be at the halfway point and see how you score out of 10. Um, if, say, I guess best example, the elemental or whatever hero, plasma, how it can equip to monster. If Cyber Dragon is equipped to anything, can you use it for a Fortress Dragon? So if it's in the spell zone equipped to anything, can it be used to make a Chimeratech Fortress?
So Cyber Dragon +1 machine monster. And it must be special summoned by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. So it doesn't specifically say from the monster zones to the graveyard, nor does it say Cyber Dragon monster. So I'm going to say that you can use an equipped Cyber Dragon Um, hold on. So, what if we're gonna go back to the mirror? Infinity absorbs. No, never mind. That's different because that's overlay, or that
See,
becomes a material, not an equip card.
you're
Okay.
pulling a
Yeah,
Team Sam now. You're questioning yourself too much and going
right.
too far into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you can contact fuse using a cyber dragon in the spell or trap zone.
Well, good answer because yes, you can. Pretty much the reason you said it says nothing about being a monster. It's just Cyber Dragon, similar to before Union Carrier got banned. Cyber Eldritch, you could actually make Infinity Union Carrier super easily, and Union Carrier could equip your Infinity with Golden Lord, and then all the traps become live because you control Eldritch the Golden Lord. It says absolutely nothing about being a monster or in a main monster zone as long as it's on the field. It counts for it. So same thing here with Cyber Dragon. It doesn't work if,
Interesting.
say, hers or core, any of those are equipped because they're not machine monsters while they're equipped. They're equipped spells. But Cyber Dragon is still Cyber Dragon while equipped.
Um, when this card, if this, hold on, that card's name becomes. So core, this card's name becomes cyber dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. So would core count as a
That's
cyber dragon?
not as an equip because it's an equip spell and that's a monster effect. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
weird, yeah.
That's what
So,
you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, so when it's an equip spell, it loses its monster effect, name change, dealio.
See, that could have been the question there.
Yeah,
That one probably would have got me.
yeah. So, okay. Away from the contact fusion aspect, now that we're all masters in it, if I go attempt to summon Cyber Dragon Nova and my opponent uses Solemn Judgment on the summon, will it trigger Cyber Dragon Nova's floating effect?
Once per turn, you can detach one material. That's not the. That's not. If this card is in your possession, if this card in your possession is sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon one machine fusion monster from your extra deck. So yeah, I don't think it matters how it gets sent. I mean, you can send it directly from the extra deck to the graveyard, um, with Dogmatica stuff and trigger the effect. So solemn, even though I know solemn judgment negates the summon, so it's not like it's on the field. Um, it's still being sent to the graveyard by your opponent's solemn judgment. So yes, I'm gonna say you can activate Nova if your opponent's solemn judgment's the summon.
Well, there, you're guaranteed at least 50%. I've seen a lot of confusion about this one actually, because they're like, oh, it never hit the field, it was never summoned. But it says from your possession, it says nothing about if this card on your field is sent. Kind of, you mentioned Maximus and even Zaborg. If they use Zaborg to send it, that will also trigger it because possession
Uh,
includes your deck, your extra deck, your hand, your graveyard, your face-up banish. Pretty much, your possession is if you have the card on you, essentially. So,
yeah. And you mean Zaborg the Mega Monarch,
yes,
not the
correct.
original
Yeah,
Monarch,
yeah, the good one,
the good one,
the one that makes Chaos Max OP.
right?
But
Oh, I tried so hard.
yeah, so anyone watching trying to beat Cyber Dragons, don't Solemn Judgment the Nova, Solemn Judgment the Infinity. It works so much better. Okay, 4 more to go. Is there a way, we know you can chain block like core from Ash Blossom with like a Cyber Dragon Fear in hand, but is there a way to dodge like Imperm, Widow Anchor, those type of targeting negations and protect your core's search?
Target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. Then if this card, okay. Um, so Imperm says face up, and we'll just say Veiler's kind of the effect. Veiler's the next most common one, right? So send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate the effects. So I would say the the best way without chain blocking with Veer, actually that wouldn't even work. Imperm Veiler, Veer wouldn't chain block for them. Something like a cyberload fusion to chain link, 3 after the imperm or Veiler, using the core as material to get it off the field, and that way they can't target the core on the field. It's left the field so it doesn't negate core.
Correct. So pretty much any way to remove core before resolution, because then their card essentially loses its target and it will resolve. Forbidden Droplet, if they have a monster to negate, being one you could do. Cyberload Fusion, like you had mentioned. Or if you're past turn 1, obviously, because it would need to be set, Overflow also is a way to dodge it. And actually, the last regional I went to, I forgot who I was against. I was against Salad, and he had the field spell and imperm set, and I summoned core, and I had hers engrave with overflow set, and he activated imperm on my core, so I flipped overflow and banished core and hers to pop his field spell and just pop the imperm because I wanted to banish 2 cyber dragons, and then he lost his target, so I searched cyberload fusion and went into rampage using the hers and core I just banished and won the game by doing it that way. So fun little trick that you can get around an imperm, and if you're searching cyberload fusion out too, you can banish a card from your graveyard to destroy that essentially useless imperm, but you're actually just fueling your cyberload fusion. So yeah, that's just brag about a fun little play I've done there. Moving forward, question number 8. Dimension Shifter has resolved, and you activate Chimeratech Rampage Dragon to mill 2. Will you gain the attacks, or can you even activate it in the first place?
Fusion summon of this can only be done with the ability of fusion materials. When this card is fusion summon, you can target a number of fusion materials, destroy them. Once per turn, you can send up to 2. Once per turn, you can send up to 2 light monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, for each monster sent, you gain the additional attack. I want to say, what was that last ruling with must be sent to the graveyard? So it doesn't actually say must be sent to the graveyard, so I think what it reads, you can send up to 2 light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard. I think they're just talking about the mechanic of sending it from the deck, like away from the deck, so just the fact that they get redirected from the graveyard to banished, I don't think that prevents you from activating the effect. So I think you can still activate, and I think you can still activate it, and if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase. So, but since they didn't hit the graveyard, they won't get the additional attacks. So you can send them, you just don't get the attacks.
Correct on both. So for anyone wondering, under Shifter or any card like that, since it's not cost to send the cards to graveyard, you can activate the effect. If you have to pay cost as written on the card, but since it's part of the effect, it'll resolve as much as it can, but they get banished instead of going to the graveyard. And like you said, they did not go to the graveyard, so you do not gain the attacks. Under Shifter, I guess a good example, you would not be able to use Galaxy Soldier because you need to discard a light card to the graveyard for cost. Since you can't pay cost as written on the card, you cannot activate the effect.
So I was wrong about why, but the answer was correct.
Well, that's what matters in the end, anyways. As long as you
Right.
get the right answer. So, okay. So Predaplant Verde Anaconda sends Cyberload Fusion. Can you attack with other monsters other than that fusion monster?
Okay, so that's let's see, Predaplant, pay 2,000. Effect becomes that spell's effect when that card is activated. also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. So the restriction wouldn't be on Anaconda, it would be on Cyberload, which says, well, fun fact, on EDO Pro, it does say the above text is unofficial and describes the card's functionality in the OCG, but I'm pretty sure it's the official text.
It is.
Let's see. Fusion summon one fusion monster from the extra deck by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck, including a Cyber Dragon monster that it lists as material from among the monsters on the field and/or facial banners cards. But monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn, except that fusion summon monster can only activate once per turn. So fusion summon. Okay, I'm gonna look up Red Eyes Fusion because I know there's something goofy with Red Eyes Fusion when used as Predaplant. You cannot normal summon or special summon other monsters when you activate this card. Cannot normal, okay. So the restriction on Red Eyes Fusion says you cannot normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this card. But you didn't activate Red Eyes Fusion as a card, you're just gaining its effect as Predaplant. So that's why you don't get locked into just Dragoon in that instance. But with this, monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn except that fusion summon monster. It doesn't say that this card has to be activated to have that restriction, so I'm going to say that no other monsters cannot attack, only the fusion summon monster.
Correct, because the other monsters you cannot, or other monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn is part of the effect. Where Red Eyes Fusion, the restriction is separate from the effect. Cyberload Fusion, the restriction is part of the effect, so it does get copied by Verte.
So I needed a little context clue there, but yeah, that makes perfect sense after comparing the two cards.
Yeah, if it had said like among face-up field or from your field and or your face-up banished cards, and then been a period, and then like said monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn, then it would be different. But since it's a comma with the word but, it's all one effect.
Right.
So one final question for today. There's probably tons of rulings that we could go into yet, but to kind of get 10 out there that are actually, I feel like semi-relevant at least, format pending.
Yeah,
but
and before you ask, any rulings you want, comments below.
sure, yeah. Any questions or anything about that? As far as like chain blocking, judgment on core, that one's easy because if they negate the summon, you never use core search. So yes, you can banish from graveyard with that. But questions like chain blocking, whether it's hers, soldier, fear, Naxter, Seeger dealing damage. Seeger doesn't deal damage, not the card it boosts. Any other questions though, comment down below and we'll be happy to answer them with hopefully a good explanation. Okay, so the final one, big question, number 10. You summon Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, and you successfully activate and resolve the effect to send 2 light machines to the graveyard and gain the attacks. After it resolves, say your opponent has more than 63, say they have 7,000 life points left, you want to try to finish them off, so you activate Forbidden Chalice on your Chimeratech Rampage to gain 400 attack, but it negates its effects for that turn until the end of the turn. Its effects are negated. Can you still attack 3 times with it?
So, yeah, that's exactly how Forbidden Chalice reads. Target one face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. That target gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. And then again, Chimeratech Rampage Dragon. You can send up to 2 light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase this turn. Which is kind of weirdly worded because There's only one battle phase, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like a prelude to Master Rule 6 or something.
Right.
There's going to be
Um,
multiple battle phases coming.
be a trap card coming up. Go back to main phase one.
That would be something.
Okay, back to the ruling. I am gonna say that this is tough. I'm gonna say that um and just going by gut, I don't really have a reason for thinking this, but I'm gonna say that um Chimeratech Rampage Dragon's effect would have already resolved, so it's no longer its effect, but just, part of the game. So I'm gonna say that he can still attack up to the 3 times even after Chalice negates his effects.
Okay, so I don't know the official way to say it, but you pretty much said how I was gonna explain it. Rampage already resolved. It's not like a continual effect like of like Core or hers is where their name change. It's like constantly applying. It was already activated. It already resolved. It's already done in past tense. So Chalice will not go back and negate that effect anymore. Its effects become negated, but it already can attack more, and it does gain the 400. So he will actually be able to attack 3 times at 2,500. I wanted to throw this example in here specifically because I used to do it before I had impermanence, and like with Forbidden Droplet being so expensive, and even imperm is still decently expensive for a playset. So Forbidden Chalice is a really good cheap substitute, I think. And if you're playing it, it's kind of worth noting, I guess, that you can pull this little cheeky play off with it. So, a fun little
So
fact.
so I guess as you were saying that, I thought of a comparable ruling. So if somebody activates Droll and Lockbird after you draw a card, um, and then for whatever reason they activate Called by the Grave later that turn, um, targeting Droll and Lockbird, it's still Droll and Lockbird's effect is still in effect, right? It doesn't get negated after it's
Correct.
already resolved. So
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, so that makes sense why compared to that, I guess if you already knew that ruling, then Rampage would still get the 3 attacks. But anyway,
Yeah.
just
And
something that came to mind.
one last bonus question about Chimeratech Rampage Dragon.
Oh, this
Um,
can put me at 11 for 10 or 10 for 10. I got
um,
one wrong, but this would give me a 10th correct answer.
it might. So, because it can, how can Chimeratech Rampage Dragon miss timing on the popping the spell and traps?
This timing. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. When this card is fusion summoned, you can target spells, traps on the field up to the number of fusion materials used for its fusion summon. Destroy them once per turn. Okay, so it says when. So I know it can miss timing because it says when. It doesn't say if this card is fusion summoned. Um, and I know we usually summon it with cyberload fusion. So I really don't know. I'm gonna say that I got nothing. Predaplant activates cyberload fusion from deck, and because it was Predaplant's effect, the action of cyberload fusion being sent to graveyard makes Rampage miss timing.
Well, you didn't need that bonus point to hit 10 out of 10 anyway. So, anytime that, like, whatever fusion summons Rampage, it has to be Chain Link 1. So, say on your opponent's turn, they, like, you want to pop their back row, you have to activate Cyberload Fusion as Chain Link 1 and not in response. So, say they activate Cosmic Cyclone with 2 set cards, and you Cyberload Fusion as Chain Link 2. Rampage will summon out, and then Cosmic Cyclone resolves before Rampage, and it misses its window to activate. So the fusion card, whatever fusion summons it, must be Chain Link 1 to make it
Yeah,
easy.
see,
So,
and I knew that. I was dumb. I was thinking that, turn player summoning it, not.
no,
I wasn't
so,
going big brain like you.
yeah. If the fusion effect is not Chain Link 1, it will miss timing and not be able to pop cards on the field. But fun fact on Dueling Book, a lot of people don't know that, and they still start sending their cards to the graveyard, and sometimes you have to play Good Samaritan and say, actually, you get to keep those. But so that's it for today. Like Brock had mentioned, if you have any other questions about the deck, comment down below. If anyone thinks our rulings or stuff today are wrong, I will be happy to get a confirmation from the Judges Lounge, but I am 99% sure on these rulings. I had a couple that I did check with them that were left out because they weren't proven correct. So did look into some stuff like that already, but 10 really good rulings and a couple bonus points for things that you definitely should know if you plan on playing Cyber Dragons, whether they help you or hurt you. You should know how the deck functions. And with that, thank you guys for sticking through a half an hour of us talking. And until next time, take care.
Bye.